Good morning. This is Peter Hatlestad. I'm the director of the Snake Road Adventure Center here at Covenant Harbor. And this is
I'm Tim. Good morning, all you maple lovers out there.
So we're here to share with you a little bit about the maple tour and the maple syrup process that we go through here at Covenant Harbor and many places elsewhere. This is our...
This is the funnest time of the year, is what this is.
Yeah, it is very fun. And it's also our way of replacing parts of Maple Fest. So we're just here to share with you a little bit about what we do and the fun we get to have with maple.
Gotta have it. Gotta have it.
So Tim, why don't you share a little bit about just the natural history, kind of the beginnings of what we do.
First of all, this is my favorite place in camp, favorite time of year, the maple fire pit. Along the shores of Kishwaukee. Oh, there's a clue, Peter. Who started all this?
The native peoples, the peoples who were here a couple centuries before us at least.
Native Americans in this part of the world, this part of the year, as a family would go into the sugar bush, or what we call that the grove of our maples, the sugar bush, right? And as a family, team build and work together to collect all the sap, which mysteriously is made of mostly what, Peter?
Agua.
But it's got a little bit of
sugar.
And that's what you see here. We're boiling maple sap in a metal pot. Did the Native Americans have a metal pot, Peter?
No, they did not.
Eventually, what did they do? How did they buy their first pot?
Usually it was with clay, or they dug out bowls and wood.
Right. And actually bartered. They used their maple syrup as moolah to buy pots from the Europeans coming over with their metal. So this is the European method here. In a metal pot, we're boiling the sap, and it's all the steam is going, the water's evaporating, and about dinner time, this is going to turn into a lovely brown caramel. Do you say caramel? Caramel color?
I say caramel.
Yeah, and we're gonna have some maple syrup in here by dinner time. But it's a long process.
Patience. You need patience.
For our younger ones out there, this was all done before video games came along. They went out all day long, collected sap, worked at it. And by the way, all these trees, they're like people. You know that, Peter?
Yes, they are.
Sap is the lifeblood of the tree. It's the nutrients are in there for the tree to grow, and all these little buds that have been dormant want to start growing, and they need food. So what happens this time of year?
Tim.
Yes?
You know why else they're like people?
Oh, you're going to use that line, aren't you?
Yep.
Go for it.
So some are more generous than others. So some trees give more sap than others.
So some trees are sweet, like people, they're sweeter than others.
Yes, but they're also more generous.
Yeah, yes. And the percentage is anywhere from 1 or 2% up to our best years, 4%?
Correct.
Right. And
Sugar
some of our,
content.
again, before video games, some of our original founders here actually went around and tagged. Some of the tags are still on the trees that gives the percentage of the sugar in the tree. So the buds want to grow. Why is the sap going up this time of year, Peter? And where has it been hiding all winter?
It's been hiding in the roots. Or do you say roots?
Roots. Whatever.
Yeah. In the ground, okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we got our first spring day, and what happens, Peter?
First spring day, the sun hits the tree, warms it up, and helps move that sap up the tree through the phloem.
Phloem. Haven't heard that one in a while. Yeah. Just inside the bark is the phloem.
Correct.
The interior is all the dormant wood.
Yeah.
So when we tap our trees with our youngins here, we just have to go in about 1.5 inches or so.
That's
right?
true.
Right.
Yep.
So up it goes through the tree trunk, out into the what?
The canopy, the leaves.
The branches, and it feeds those buds, and in the springtime the sun sets, it gets cool, so where does the sap go? Back down in the roots, you just say roots, and up and down all spring long. But how often do we get perfect conditions for that?
Seasonally, it's twice a year.
Yeah. So we can tap in autumn as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what we're looking for are the days when it's below freezing at night and it gets above freezing during the day. So that temperature variance, it only really happens late fall, early winter, early spring. So we're right on the cusp of it here, right here in this part of the state.
So we have like a 5-6 week window to get this done.
Right.
And this
So
is
work,
a
work,
passion.
work.
This is a joy.
Yep.
All right, we're going to show you a little Native American trick here. We're going to pretend the metal pot doesn't exist. Native Americans didn't have metal pots, so they, as Peter said, they would carve out a tree trunk and make a bowl. There's one right here, and there's one over here, and they would put rocks in their fire. Remember, no wooden bowls, no metal bowls for the Native Americans. So
Careful,
they would.
Tim.
Oh, Peter,
Those
back
rocks
me
are
up
hot.
on this. And we're going to take this hot rock. What are we going to do with it, Peter?
Let's put it in the wooden
Oh,
bowl.
let's zoom in on this steam coming off the wooden bowl here.
Oh, yeah. Smell
And
it?
If you roll that over, I'm wondering why there is an elephant going by, because it smells like I'm at the circus. You can actually smell the candy, the sugar in that steam. And again, hot rocks in, cold rocks out. All day long they would do it. Oh, here's a good one, Peter.
Feed the fire.
We're going to get a good one in here.
Careful.
Oh, look at that. Oh, we're good. Oh, come on, darling.
Come on, you can do it.
Thanks for your encouragement,
There we
Peter.
go.
Oh, there we go.
We're running out of room in there, Tim.
Hot rocks in, cold rocks out all day long. And about dinner time, we're going to have some syrup in that stuff. And it's going to get cool again tonight, so they had a little shortcut at night for speeding up the process, didn't they?
Yes,
What'd they do?
did. Yes, they did. So they let it sit overnight, right? So it gets cold at night. Hopefully it gets to below freezing. And what happens is they'll wake up in the morning and they'll find a nice layer of ice on top.
Peel it right off.
Peel that ice off, so that's water.
Yes.
And what's left is the sugar and the syrup that has gone to the bottom because it's more dense than water.
Absolutely. Now this is a lot of work. A lot of work. It's a passion. And if the camera will swing around, you'll see a more convenient way for us to collect our sap. You know, I want to talk about those sap lines, Peter.
Ah, yes. So Covenant Harbor is blessed to be on a hill, right? So we get to use gravity by using these tubes, these plastic tubes. We'll tap the trees, and it all feeds into one line and goes down to one collecting source. So in the old days, they used to use buckets hanging on trees. I'm sure you've seen all those pictures. And we've gone to bags these days. But now we can use tubes, so we can just collect in one spot instead of trudging through the woods with our yoke and buckets, which become very heavy and it becomes very messy.
And sticky.
Sticky.
And that's an
Very sticky.
efficient way because, you know, the more sap we collect, the more what?
The more syrup
More
we get.
syrup we get. What do you like syrup on?
I like it on ice cream.
Ice cream.
Vanilla ice cream.
Pancakes for me,
Yum.
sausages on the side, and so much syrup that the sausages actually start floating.
That's good too.
Oh, good.
That's good too.
Yeah. Native Americans would use this in their cooking. This was a main staple of their cooking.
Yep. If you read The Little House on the Prairie, the Laura Ingalls Wilder series,
Yes?
so Little House in the Big Woods here in Wisconsin, there's a whole chapter on how Pa used to make maple
Nice.
sugar. He'd make little maple cakes, sugar cakes that they would save and use for their sweetener.
Hey, Peter, do all trees have sap?
All trees have sap, Tim.
Can we make syrup out of all trees then?
No, silly.
We have-
Only the real good trees.
There's my favorite example in camp. If you'll pan over, see the nice tall white pine there? They used to use the tree trunk for the masts of the sailing ships. That's a coniferous or pine tree. Guess what we use the sap for the pine tree to make? Glue and turpentine. You're gonna put glue on
Pine
your pancakes?
pitch.
Huh? Pine pitch. So we love our maple trees. We are blessed. Only certain portions of the world have maple trees. We're one of them. Southeast Canada.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at a state map of Wisconsin,
Right.
Tim, all the woods, the type of woods in the state, we have a nice little island of maple trees, concentration of maple trees in this part of the state. All the rest of the good maple trees are really up in the northern half of the state. So they do a lot of mapling up north. We just are able to do a little bit. We've got a bunch of nice, mature, hard sugar maples.
Yeah, as we tell our fourth graders who come in, first graders, you know, they'll have the matching hats and gloves. They're so cute. And now when you come in, we like to remind them while they're enjoying their maple cookie, can you make, do they have big maple trees like this in Phoenix, Arizona?
Nope.
What about Miami, Florida?
Nope.
No. Southeast Canada, Southeast Canada. Hey,
Canada's
wait,
great.
what do they have on their flag?
The maple leaf.
Yeah, because they have lots of maple trees in Southeast Canada. But we're really fortunate, and we'd like our youngins and our not so youngins to realize what a blessing. Maple trees.
Yes.
Yes.
So there are many different types of
Yes.
maple trees, Tim, right? So there are hard maple, the sugar maple. There's red maples. You've seen the trees with the red.
Get to
reddish
my favorite
leaves,
now.
right?
Get to my favorite. Wait.
Silver maple.
That's not my favorite.
Okay. How about the
Sugar maple? Isn't there a sugar
Didn't
maple?
I say that
Oh,
one?
you said sugar maple.
was
I wasn't listening as
yeah.
usual.
How about the Norway maple?
Oh, Norwegian, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
of course, there's one more tree in the maple family.
Yes.
It's called the box elder.
Oh,
You can
yeah.
tap the box elder.
Box elder.
Oh, here's a fun fact, Tim.
Yes, Peter.
Eastern Europe, they don't have a lot of maple trees, but they do have birch
Oh,
groves, and they make birch syrup.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is unfortunately becoming a lost art. More corporations and companies are getting into this process, and
It's getting very commercial.
very commercial.
Very commercial.
And it's a joy. It's a passion.
It's a different type of farming.
Yeah. Yes. And they are farming it.
They are.
Are we off to the maple shed soon?
We are. Why don't we go over there now?
Let's head over there. I feel like Mr. Rogers. You see the movie yet? It's really
I
good.
haven't.
Let's go.